So in the most confusing move of the Fever's free agency, they have cut Grace Berger. They've cut Grace Berger. And I made a video talking about, with the Fever, that they're, their versatility and everything. And I've always talked about Grace Berger and how good Grace Berger has been overseas. Like, I literally have a video ready that I'm going to have to freaking can. Like, I had video ready later today talking about how Grace Berger as the backup point guard for the Fever is going to be incredible. And right now, is anyone safe? I genuinely mean this. Is anyone safe? So, do they give up another asset? Like, I have a weird, really, really weird feeling that we see Katie Lou and the 2026 first round pick and one of 19 or 20 for a backup point guard. And then they have the cap space to sign a backup center. Like, I actually think we see that. Like, I don't think they're done. I would be shocked if we see Katie Lou Samuelson at this stage. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, they only have one point guard left. They literally only have one point guard left. So I'm looking at this right here. Caitlin Clark is the only point guard left on the roster. And they don't even have something that resembles a point guard. Caitlin Clark's the only point guard. They've still got one move. And I have a weird feeling they've got more than one move in the works. So who could they potentially get at point guard? There are a lot of point guards overseas, by the way. Like, there are a lot. And I mean this. If you go to Europe, there are a lot of good point guards. Like, you can find, not specifically Julie Van Loo, but you can find a player of the level of a Julie Van Loo, of an Uzun. You can find those players overseas. And they're going to be there they're going to come over on a minimum. You're going to get one of them. And then you potentially have the salary to bring in a near like 80K, near 100K free agent. And could you get Tina Charles with that money? I don't know what they're going to do at this stage. Like, Mick Talk Hoops about to lose his accent on this one. Like, what is going on? What is actually going on here? Should have been the other point guard. Mess of WNBA. Grace Berger's been waived. She was on the all-rookie team and her role decreased. But, like, she was waived by the... And they bring in Jaylen Brown, who they're going to cut. They're going to cut Jaylen Brown. They're going to probably cut Victoria Saxton. Like, they need a backup. They need a backup point guard. Who are they going to bring in? Like, who actually could they bring in? Like, if they somehow are they somehow going to find a way of, like, getting Lindsay Allen from the Sun? Do they go and get Lindsay Allen for the 19th pick for the Sun? Like, there's a possibility for that. But who the hell is their other point guard going to be? Someone just said future Sun for her. But it's like, if you're going to do that, then why would you not just trade her straight up for Lindsay Allen? Like, why would you not just trade Grace Berger straight up for someone? Why would you cut her? And for people wondering why they're not cutting Christy Wallace, they can't cut Christy Wallace. She's on a guaranteed deal where Grace Berger isn't. But then, like, I was like, oh, they have to give up the 8th pick to be smart because it's between the 8th pick and Berger, and they want to pick Grace Berger. Who are they going to bring in? Like, I'm trying to look at WNBA free agents that play to one. I'm going to look at it just on my phone because I'm not at home, so it's really, really awkward kind of switching things when I don't have my two screens in front of me. So, free agents remaining. Potential players that they could bring back. There's no way they bring back Erica Wheeler, right? There's actually no way. They could bring back Erica Wheeler, couldn't they? They're going to bring back Erica Wheeler, aren't they? But I'm looking through and I'm like, players that they could bring in. She's not a point guard. But, like, imagine they brought in Tiffany Hayes and just said, you know what, Caitlin, you're playing 40 a game. And just like, Sophie Cunningham, you can play a bit of point guard. But, like, Sammy Whitcomb would be a really interesting backup vet point guard. She would be. Really interesting. Because she shoots the ball a bit better. Tina Charles, like, you've got, I'm trying to think what you have with her gone. Like, let's be real. They're going to cut, Jaylen Brown is probably getting cut, or Victoria Saxton. They're both on, like, really cheap contracts. One of them's getting cut. So they're going to bring in a backup point guard and they're going to need a backup center. They're probably cutting both of them. Let's be real. Both of them are probably going to be cut. So you're looking now at them bringing in, they've got cap space of a minimum and 90-ish K, whatever Grace Berger's on. Probably 85, 90K on a year 3 deal. That's, I think, is it 85K? So you can bring in a minimum player and you can bring in a decent, and I mean decent player willing to take a pay cut. You're either taking someone at the end of their career or you're taking someone just willing to come to Indy for a pay cut. And that's, by the way, assuming DeWanna Bonner took the max of what she could get. There is a non-zero chance that they had to offer DeWanna Bonner a max. And you have to then replace Grace Berger with a minimum. There's a non-zero chance of that happening. So there's players that I think could be interesting. There are players I think it's very interesting to look, say, at seeing if the Sky cut Dana Evans. They're not going to do that. Like, I think that could be a really interesting one. And if you're looking at overseas, if you want like a Grace Berger type do-it-all point guard who doesn't really have any flaws, you probably look at Mariana Ortiz, who's older. She does average, like, she literally averages like 6, 6, and 6 with 2 steals, really good defender, all-around point guard, does a little bit of everything. But I'm really shocked about this one. This is the most shocking because I thought Grace Berger was almost being groomed into being that backup for Caitlin Clark. Clearly the Fever know more than I do, but I would have thought Grace Berger was going to be a huge part of the Fever's future. I thought Grace Berger was going to be like such an important piece because of her versatility. She had the positional versatility to be a point guard and play with Caitlin Clark and play without Caitlin Clark. That's why I don't want them to bring in like some 5'6" point guard. I don't want them to bring back an Erica Wheeler. I really don't. Like, they have enough vets. They don't need vet presence. But like, you don't cook Grace Berger now. And I'm like, unless you go into the draft and are like, let's just say we want Hailey Van Lith to back a point guard. And I wouldn't hate bringing in Hailey Van Lith in the draft. Like, she is having quietly an unbelievable year at TCU. Like, Hailey Van Lith should be in first round conversations. She's just being ignored. Like, Hailey Van Lith is having as good a year as Paige Beckers. And look, TCU have been almost as good as UConn. Like, based on playing good teams. Heck, TCU beat Notre Dame. Like, Hailey Van Lith should be in those conversations for being a first rounder. But obviously she's not. Maybe that's who they're looking for. I don't even know who they could be looking for. I actually don't. I don't even know who they could be looking for in free agency. Because at the backup point guard, there's so few good options. Like, Sammy Whitcomb's kind of old and slow, doesn't really fit. Like, there's not that many dynamic, 6 foot tall point guards. Unless they bank on Sanaya Rivers falling, or they bank on Cheyenne Sellers falling. I don't see where you can get a combo guard, you can get a 6 foot tall combo guard who can pass, who can play defense, who can shoot the midi, who can create their own shot. Like, I don't know where you can find that. I also think Grace Berger probably, if Tash Cloud's gone, she might end up at the Sun. But like, I think if the Fever were looking for any assets currently on a team, they would have just traded her. So clearly they're not looking for an asset that's currently on a team. Because Grace Berger would have been involved in a trade, because I think Grace Berger at least has as much value as Nalissa Smith. Not much, but second round pick value. And I'm surprised they didn't just try trade her to the Sun for a second round pick or something, but obviously not the case. Obviously the Fever have plans. Like, we know that the Fever are pulling off the lasagna off season because we know Real G's move in silence. And this one is a shock because I was really thinking Grace Berger was going to be that backup point guard. And the fact that it means they did not, if they're going to waiver, they didn't protect her in the expansion draft, which again means they protected Damiris Dantas over Temi. I don't want to get demonetized. But Temi, let's just say LGBT Benley. Because YouTube legitimately has demonetized me for slurs for saying Temi's surname. But it means they haven't protected Temi. When they never protected Temi, which is a shock as well. because they did have the plan. I mean, they executed said plan. But anyway, yeah, that's the video. See you guys.